Welcome to Treasure Coast Community Health, with 7 locations to serve you better. We have a dedicated staff. And now, here's your host, CEO Vicki Soule.
Hello there, and welcome to Community Conversations. You know, as the leader of a healthcare organization, I would be remiss if I didn't remind everyone to be ultra careful in these next few weeks. Get your flu shot, continue wearing your mask, continue physically distancing. We know that up north, in the Midwest, and various places around the country where the cold snap has forced more people indoors, that they are really fighting this coronavirus. We live in what we consider paradise. Let's all do our bit to continue to keep it that way. It's really important. So get your flu shot now. You cannot get it when the COVID inoculations are happening, and flu season can last up to April or May. So we've got a road ahead of us ourselves. The cold snap will remind us of that. It is winter, which is traditionally flu season. So don't be remiss. Don't think just because you got a mask on, you're not going to get the flu. It is circulating already among our school children with upset stomachs, so don't be a victim. Today I have an unusual guest, someone that I've just met, but I'm aware of their organization because of the good works that they do. You might notice if you see me on Facebook that I have on a red, white, and blue scarf. That's because I've invited Rick Lewis, representing Wreaths across America, to tell us a little bit more about this. It is our 3rd year of celebrating Wreaths across America in Indian River County. And so I thought perhaps he could give us a little more information, a little more background, and invite us all to participate as the years go forward. Welcome, Rick.
Thank you, and thank you for having me.
So you are a retired city employee, you told me.
Yes, I am. Yeah, I retired after 6 years in the Navy. I got out and took a job with the City of Vero Beach Electric Distribution Department, where I spent 5 years in dispatch operations and then 25 in the substation division. Took early retirement before they sold, and decided to go into a new line of work and maybe give back a little bit to the community that's given me so much.
And so in those last couple of years, you connected through Post 39 with Joe Crowley and his wife.
Yes.
That originated Wreaths Across America here. How did that happen?
I was a representative from Post 39 to the Veterans Council and was talking to the director at the time, Dory Dempsey. And Joe and Sue have been involved in Wreaths Across America up in Massachusetts, where they're from. And we're looking at starting it down here. We were working out of the same office, so I connected with them and talked to them. And since I had a few connections at the city after 30 years, I thought it sounded like a fantastic idea and offered to help. And they accepted. So with their knowledge of the Wreaths and my background with the city and knowing the individuals there and how to work through that, in 2018, which was our first year, we actually got that started fundraising by March, and actually brought in almost 900 Wreaths that year.
So for those that have never been exposed to Wreaths Across America, can you give us kind of the big picture? It was in Massachusetts, now is here, but what is it? Okay.
Well, Wreaths Across America was begun by a gentleman out of Maine. He owns a plant where they make the living wreaths, and these are living wreaths. And in 1992, he had an abundance, and that he had an experience as a young lad, as a youngster at Arlington that really impressed him. He wanted to remember and honor those that served at Arlington. So with the help of a senator from Maine, they got permission to begin laying wreaths at Arlington with the help of the Civil Air Patrol. Okay. And that went on until 2005, when a picture of Arlington with all the wreaths out there went viral on the internet. And a lot of people at that point began asking, hey, how can we do this?
To honor our own servicemen in our own neighborhoods.
Yes.
Okay.
And in 2007, they released it, and Wreaths Across America was born. That first year, they had over 600 sites participated.
That's marvelous. 600 in the first year?
First year.
Wow.
And if we fast forward to last year, they had over 2,200 participating sites and put out over 2.2 million wreaths to honor that many of our servicemen.
And I'm going to guess that the fella in Maine is not the only supplier anymore.
I don't know the logistics on how they supply these.
It's a lot of wreaths.
I don't, just to think about the logistics of shipping them all out and having them arrive before that same day so they can all be done on the same day.
And that's the goal.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That we are all across the nation honoring our...
Right. It's to remember and honor our service members. And that's something that we do stress, that this is not just decorating. It's not just going out and putting a decoration out.
Right.
Their motto is remember, honor, teach. And this is something that's very important. So what we want to do is ensure that when you come out as a volunteer to help lay a wreath, we'll ask you to take that wreath. Take that wreath, find a grave of a service member. Take a moment at that to read the headstone and think about that individual. Bring that individual into your heart. And then say that individual's name aloud. And the saying the name aloud is very important because, as I'm sure you and everybody out there knows, we all die twice. First time is when we take our last breath. The second time when the last time our name is spoken. So we want to keep our service members, those that have given and given all. So we want to keep them alive. And then we ask you to lay that wreath at that headstone. In that way, honoring that individual. And then, of course, there's the teach. And that is somehow really the most important. We want the younger folks to come out. We want to see the Boy Scouts and Cub Scouts and Civil Air Patrol. We want to see the grandchildren and children come out and participate. That way we do pass on where our freedoms come from. Because our freedoms aren't free. Our freedoms are paid for.
And many times, having been out for both of them here in Indian River County, I have heard parents and grandparents and scout leaders explaining, this man was born around the time of, and some of them are pretty old plots and some are more recent, to try to give some context to when they were born and what it was like and the year that they died, particularly if it was in reference to a particularly large, well-known skirmish, or war. And so you can see the children really engage in those conversations quietly. There's not a lot of running around or, let me grab that. I mean, the group has prepped the idea of teaching, but most of the children come expecting to do those steps. And it's wonderful to see. It truly is. So I thank you both for remembering and for the teaching aspect.
It is. And when you hear the stories, not just from the children, but also from the adults that have never done this, after the first time they've gone out and they've laid a wreath, said the name, you see emotions come out. I've seen grown men walk away with tears in their eyes. It's a very solemn occasion.
And particularly for those whose relatives are laid to rest and they can honor them because they are local.
They are.
It is really, they don't want to be self-centered, so typically I will see them take a wreath and go to a random direction, okay? But then they'll come back and say, now I have to go see my Uncle Larry,
Well, that's something that we do try to locally. We do offer grace specific, and I handle the one up in Sebastian. We do this basically the same time. Joe will be doing the one here in Vero, and we will about 5 minutes before we start laying the rain wreaths, ask that anybody with loved ones come up and take a wreath and go out and spend some time with them. That's and I feel that's important. We need to have that.
Absolutely. We're going to take a short break for a word from our sponsors, but then we'll come back and we'll talk about the specifics, the where, the when, the places, and more about the event itself. Thank you.
Hey, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. You're on Planet Vero Radio and TV. Stay with us.
The Bottle Shop, liquor, wine from France, Italy, Spain, and California. They even do deliveries and parties. Are you planning an event? Bottle Shop provides liquor and wine on consignment. Pay for the booze you use. They deliver anywhere on the island, hotel rooms too. The Bottle Shop, next to the Boiler Bar, both on Ocean Drive in Vero Beach. The Bottle Shop, 772-231-0277.
Millennium Cremation Service now has 3 convenient locations. Visit Millennium Cremation Service in Sebastian, Vero Beach, and now their newest location in Port St. Lucie's Tradition. A simple cremation is very affordable for just $7.95. Locally owned and operated, Millennium Cremation Service is proud to be the Treasure Coast on-site crematory. Reach out when you are in need to Millennium Cremation Service, 772-999-5547. Online at millenniumcremationservice.com.
Blue Dolphin Pools strives to provide quality service with a well-trained staff in the field and in the office. They want you to know that your pool or spa investment means much more to them than just another account. They believe you have entrusted them with your investment, and they'll do their best to see that it stays in top condition. Blue Dolphin Pool has been in business over 35 years, setting them apart from the competition. Residential or commercial, Blue Dolphin will keep you in the swim. 567-5853.
And welcome back to Community Conversations. I'm Vicki Soule, the CEO of Treasure Coast Community Health. And every week we look for interesting topics to help inform and advise and generally make your life just a little bit better. So this week I've invited Rick Lewis from Wreaths across America. Actually, he's not from there. He is actually a sponsor this year of Wreaths across America and a member of Post 39 and part of the Veterans Council, so that he is an integral part of it, but has emphasized that he's part of a team, part of a community group that puts together this one-day event. So what day is it?
Wreaths Day this year is going to be December 19th.
Okay.
And that does change a little bit each year, a little later this year.
That's what I thought. It was generally earlier. But again, this is across America. So as we're doing it on December 19th, so are people in South Dakota or California? All across the nation. There are, as I said, there's 2,200 sponsored sites, plus, of course, Arlington. And it will happen across the nation at the same time. The laying of the wreaths may change on times a little bit. Okay. But the ceremony that happens either before the laying or after always happens at 12 noon on that day. So it coincides with the ceremony at Arlington. And it's a pre-written ceremony so that everybody really is doing the same thing and honoring in the same. That is awesome. So we talked a little bit earlier about gathering to lay the wreaths and how that process actually is in terms of honoring and teaching. I forgot the third word, didn't I? Remember, honor, and teach. Remember, honor, and teach. Certainly we're there to remember. So let's talk a little bit more about the logistics so that if individuals want to join, where would they come, when, and tell us more about the ceremony. Okay. We'll be laying wreaths at Cresslawn and at Sebastian Municipal. And then there's 2 other sponsored sites, and I want to make sure we mention those. One is West Walbasso, which is sponsored by the Next Generation Veterans. Nicole Hagenson really runs that one. And then the Daughters of the American Revolution, Holly Hamilton sponsors Brookside, which is the little cemetery. It's the old Fillsmere Cemetery behind the Burger King at 512 and 510. I think that's probably our county's best kept secret. I've been here a long time, and When you said the intersection of 510 and 512, I was like, there's schools and there's a cow pasture. I don't remember any cemetery until you said it's behind Burger King. So it's a ways back. And do you anticipate that there are, or do you know, are there a lot of veterans there?
I believe there are 45 in that one.
Wow.
And I think there's 25 or 30 in West Balbasso.
Okay.
So, and then next year we're hoping to sponsor and bring into it Winter Beach and Gifford, which we have 130 in Gifford, and I'm told over 300
in Crestline?
In Winter Beach. No,
oh, in
actually,
Winter Beach?
Yeah, yes. Crestline, actually, we have close to 1,400.
Wow. So let's take just a minute and talk about the sponsorship, because without sponsors, none of this would happen. The wreaths are real. They're not plastic. They are from grown and cut trees,
Yes.
And then shipped out so that they arrive fresh with, as I recall, beautiful red bows on them. So there is a cost involved there. How can people help with that sponsorship?
These are live fir wreaths, and they can be ordered either through Wreaths Across America. You go to the website, there's a drop-down menu on the upper right-hand corner.
And it's all spelled out, Wreaths Across America?
Yes.
Okay.
wreathsacrossamerica.org, and you'll see either sponsor sites, or if you go in and click on groups, which is where we really would like you to do. You can either do sites or groups, and you put in the zip code. That will bring up either all the sites that are sponsored are in that area, in that zip code, or in that
local area.
Area, or it'll bring up all the groups. And the reason we kind of ask you to do groups is because there's 3 different types of sponsorships. Okay. One is a standard sponsorship where the wreaths are $15 a piece. And that really covers it, and you get one wreath for the 15. You have one for the 501Cs, which are the like the Boy Scouts and the Civil Air Patrol, excuse me, where they get $5 back from every $15 wreaths they sell.
Okay, so you're helping twice.
So you're helping twice. You're also helping with wreaths, but you're also bringing in and helping those youth groups.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the sponsorships like I do and the Crowleys do, which and we have, like, I think Remax and a few other people are doing, which are a 3 for 2. And that is for every 2 wreaths that we sell, we get a 3rd wreath free.
That is wonderful. So pick your selection. Yes. The only reason I could think about doing an individual $15 wreath is if I wanted to dedicate that to a particular location outside of the area. Perhaps, again, I might have an uncle that is buried at another site. Is that possible to make that transfer?
Yeah. Well, if you did that, you would just put that zip code in. And then you could go to that site and pick either sponsorship group up there or just dedicate, And then there's also grave specific, of course, which we offer. Not all sites do. And you can say, this is the location of my loved one. I would like to make sure we get somebody.
What a wonderful way, economically, but pretty significant to honor that family that gave up that person in service.
I actually had a lady from out of state call me, got my number from the city of Vero, actually gave her my number. And
small town, we do that.
Sure. And she has a loved one here, and her father is in Crestline, and she wanted to make sure that she got a wreath on that. So
that's wonderful.
I said, give me the location of it, and we'll make sure.
So in cases like that, those individuals obviously are not going to be at grave site, and yet there is a wreath for their particular plot.
We will have somebody go out there and make sure they get a wreath on that plot.
So are you looking for some volunteers? Can people come in regardless of whether they have a loved one there or not?
Yes. Actually, if you wanted to come out and help lay wreaths, show up at Crestline at 10 o'clock. Okay. Just getting there a little bit beforehand. And that's when they'll start laying wreaths. At Sebastian, since we don't have as many today, we'll start laying wreaths at 11.
Okay.
And you can come to either site. And
are those instructions on your website, Wreaths Across America?
Not on that, no, but they'll be on on the Facebook pages. We'll put it out That way,
so you have a Facebook Wreaths Across America.
yes, Wreaths Across America of Indian River County.
Okay, good to know.
And you can join that as a group, and you'll get the information. That's
Wonderful.
everything
Okay.
we're doing and the meetings that we have, because we do have meetings. Of course, we have people from the Rotary Club that come to our meeting.
Mhm.
We have Post 39 I represent, and then we've got retired Teamsters come to our meetings. They help out. Post 189 in Sebastian comes to our meetings. So we have a full group. The Veterans Council, the Sheriff's Office.
Do you have another meeting between now and then if someone really wanted to observe, or would this be something that you guys restart late spring, early summer? Or how does that go?
That's something we'll have to talk about. We haven't
Okay.
set up another meeting yet, but yeah, we will probably do that and then do another meeting after we lay the wreaths, because we'll have to pick them up the first Saturday in January. And then this whole process never ends. It just rolls right through.
So again, Facebook is probably the easiest place to get that continuing information.
Yes, it is.
Okay. And it's definitely a community-spirited event. So no one is a stranger.
Without the community, this wouldn't happen.
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit about the ceremony itself. They are not held at the cemeteries.
At West Wabasso, and I think Dodgers American Revolution will do theirs at there.
I stand corrected. Okay.
But since we have two really great places, to hold these ceremonies, in Sebastian, of course, they have the Veterans Memorial at Riverside Park. And so at 12 noon, we'll do the ceremony there. We've got Colonel Patty Ryan is going to be our speaker. We've got Pete Puzo is going to sing for us and do the national anthem. The Sebastian Honor Guard will be there to render colors and honors.
Wonderful.
Over on the island at 12 noon, we'll have the ceremony over there for this area, and of course there's all the cenotaphs. And so at 11:30 they'll lay wreaths on all those, plus on the Gold Star Grove and those monuments. And we'll have I believe Rob Ryan's a speaker here in town this year.
Okay.
They'll have the honor guard from the sheriff's office, and I believe the Vero Beach Police Department will have some individuals out there. I'm not sure about that, but I know there's going to be honor guard out there from the sheriff's office. And then they'll have, I'm not sure who's singing this year, and I believe they have a bagpiper this year also.
Nice. So the routine then is to go out to the cemetery in the morning.
Yes.
Go early because there's usually quite a few people there, so you need to find a place to park and then walk to where the wreaths are at.
Yes.
Hopefully the weather will be cooperative. And on the 19th, then you'll go from the cemetery over to the place where the dedication is, if it's not there, for a 12 o'clock start there.
Yes.
So again, anticipate that there's some travel time in between and parking and walking time in between.
Yes.
And then the ceremony starts at 12 o'clock.
12 noon, yes.
Do they need to bring chairs? Is it a long ceremony?
It's not. I mean, if depending on your health condition, you may want to bring something to sit. Usually, the ceremony lasts less than a half hour. It's not a long ceremony. It's set up and designed that way.
Okay. A great way to bring perhaps younger children that don't understand the whole wreath part, or older ones that don't get up until a little bit later, and have them participate with you as well.
Yes, and if you can't come out and lay a wreath, you can always just come to the ceremony.
Mm-hmm.
And so.
And pictures are allowed.
Yes, please do.
All righty. Thank you so much, Rick, for being with us today and telling us all about it. I would wish you luck, except I know no luck is needed. America comes out for its own, and I'm so pleased at the number of volunteer hours that this community does give for important things like this. So thank you for volunteering your time with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Pass the word on, folks, and I will see you next week. Have a great evening.